Hi, I'm Rajiv, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to use a scent as an emotional trigger. I think most people out there can relate to the sensation of smelling something and immediately feeling intense feelings of emotion before our mind can actually process the thoughts associated with that specific odor. And there is a scientific reason for that, which is quite fascinating. Forgive me if I don't say these terms correctly, but what's amazing is that all of our senses, they go through a part of the brain called the thalamus. So you touch a hot stove, the nerves pick up that reaction, it goes to the thalamus, it tells the thalamus, take the finger away, and then after it tells the finger to move away, something happens in the brain where the information is stored in a memory to say, don't do that again. And that happens with the sensation of hearing, with smelling, with touching, with tasting. But smelling specifically, the fascinating thing about smell, it's the one scent that actually does not go to the thalamus first. It goes immediately to the front of the brain in an olfactory lobe, olfactory for smelling. So the thalamus is kind of in the middle of the brain over here, and this olfactory lobe is right behind here. I think even as children, we have experienced this feeling of smelling something and instantly being taken back to a moment. Just last year, my little niece, who's 9 years old, and she was wiping her hands on a towel and she started crying. And when my sister went and asked her why she was crying, she said, "Oh, I smell amama." And amama is the term for grandmother, and that's my mom, who we lost a few years ago. And my sister consoled my little niece, but the reason why she just broke down in tears immediately is because when she held the towel to her nose, she was taken right back to the feeling of being with my mom. And that, as a child, I think is something that we can all identify with, how powerful smell is. When I was in university, I was auditioning for roles, usually terrorists and math geeks and call center workers, and then a part came along that I was adamant to get. It was when they were turning Life of Pi into a movie. I read that book. I was just floored by how similar I was to this character, and I decided I was going to make it my mission to get that part. So I was at the University of Toronto. I went to the registrar's office, I dropped out of school, and I booked a one-way ticket to India to do research. And I traveled to South India, to Pondicherry, where there is really a boys' school called Petit Séminaire that's in the book Life of Pi. And in that school, there are schoolboys and principals. And I went to that school and I spent over a month there. When I decided I was going to do this, I decided that I had to try to make this fictional character, Pi, a real thing. And I decided to harness the ability to use smell in a powerful way. So when I went to India, I decided I had to find something that I would smell every day, and I would only smell it in India while I was there. And then I would bring that thing back home, and I would tuck it away. And when I needed to be transported back to India, I could smell that thing. And I thought, what could I smell that reminds me of India? And the first thing that came to mind was fresh jasmine flower garlands, which I bought every day and I hung in my hotel room. But I realized when I'm in cold North America, where am I going to get fresh jasmine flowers? So the second thing I thought of was another scent that's ancient in India, sandalwood. I found a government-run store where I could assure myself that the sandalwood was real, and I looked through this glass case and I found this little case right here. And this thing was so small and so beautifully carved, and look, it opens up. And I store my thimble in it. But this thing, even today, when I smell this, I'm taken right back to India. And I don't smell this very often because I don't want to ruin the association between that smell and what I planted in my head. But I did that. I harnessed this thing and I planted the seed every day in India to be able to bring this back. And I just close my eyes and I smell this, and I'm right there. And I'm right there in a world of these really kind school kids that were so nice to me, of dirt streets, of the buildings that looked like French colonial buildings, of a big elephant outside an ancient stone temple in Pondicherry. And that is the power of smell. It takes you right back. So I did that for the research for a very big role. And then I didn't get the part. They gave it to somebody else. But that thing that I did, that thing that I harnessed, was something that I realized, why stop there? When you're embarking on something that's very special, maybe you can use this. Maybe you can use this smell thing as a way of capturing something. So this past summer, I went to Florence, and I was in Florence for 2 months to do an art course, an 8-crochet course, learning about anatomy. And when I got to Florence, this ancient city that was so beautiful, I had never been there before, but I knew I was going to be a local because I'd be living there for quite a bit of time. I thought, I have to go and find something. I have to go and find something that I'm going to use and smell every day. And I knew about a very old pharmacy. SantaMaria Novella Farmaceutica. I went to SantaMaria Novella and I got some soap and I got some other things that smell. These are what my friend Laura and I call poo papers. They're little papier d'Arménie, Armenian papers that even in the 18th century, you burn them and it makes the whole room smell good. So Laura and I use these in the bathroom and we call them poo papers because when there's a smell you want to get rid of in the bathroom, you light one of these. But this is what I sprayed on myself every day after I took a shower. It's Tonic per la pelle. This video is not sponsored by SantaMaria Novella. I don't even know why I'm advertising for free. But I'm using this as an example to tell you that, this is what I did. I would have a shower, admire the reflection in the mirror because it was very nice at that time, and then I would spray this all over. I would just cover myself in this tonico per la pelle, tonico for the skin. It's a skin tonic, and I just did it right now, and I am taken right back to that hot, sweaty summer just a few months ago in Florence because I did this every day. And then I brought this back here, and every now and then, and this is the thing, you can't do this too often. It's like a magical world. You only have a certain amount of passes to go into that magical world before the magical world will go away. So you have to use it very, very wisely because your brain will start to associate smelling this with New York, where I am right now. But every now and then, when I think of Florence and when I think of how lucky I was to be there, I go into my cupboard in the bathroom and I pull this out and I just need one sniff and I'm just transported right back. And then this gets put away. I wear just one scent. It's not a cologne, it's actually a perfume that was made for ladies, but that's all I wear. And I wear it because when I was an au pair in Munich, Anna, the mother of the 2 kids I took care of, she would get up at 4 a.m., she would do some exercise, then she would get dressed and get in the elevator before any of us were up, and she would take the train 2 hours to Nuremberg every day. And 2 or 3 hours after she had left, I would get in the elevator to go upstairs to go to the family's apartment, and I could smell her scent in the elevator. And this went on for a full year in Munich. And one day when I was walking down the street in New York, I stopped dead in my tracks because I was taken right back to that elevator in Munich. Some stranger on the street was wearing Anna's perfume, and I knew what that perfume was. So I went to the store and I splurged and I bought a bottle of this fancy stuff made in France, and I started wearing it because it transported me back to Munich. And now I wear it so often that I can't even smell it anymore. Like, I'll spray it on myself and an hour later I'll think, oh, it doesn't smell like anything. But that's because my nose has become so familiar to it. However, and this is the bottle right here, and it is a secret, so I'm not going to share with you what my little secret is. But now, every now and then, I'll get a call from someone or a letter of a close friend that will say, here I was in a city far away from you, and tonight you were there because I passed something and I stopped dead in my tracks and I thought, Rajiv is right here. That is the power of a scent, and that is how you can use it to your advantage. So, I hope this short little video inspires you to go out there, and it doesn't have to be a perfume. It doesn't have to be a Tonic per la pelle from SantaMaria Novella farmaceutica dell'anno 1220. It can be something as simple as roses, or a piece of sandalwood, or something else. But you can use it. The wonderful thing about this is that the order in which scent goes through the brain is very different than all the other senses. In all the other senses, we touch something, it pricks us, we hear something. It first goes to the information processing part of the brain, the thalamus. It's the information relay station. And then we can articulate actual words associated with the senses, and then it goes to the rest of our brain. But with smell, it's the reverse. It doesn't go to the information station first. It goes directly to the part of the brain that's associated with feeling and memory. And after it goes to the place associated with feeling and memory, then it goes to the information station. That's why we smell these things and we feel this immediate response emotionally. And then we think, oh my gosh, what does that remind me of? And we actually have to process that and articulate that after. That's the magic of this. That's the magic of this primitive part of our brain that has held on to this way of using smell. And I think it's a beautiful thing to harness that, to use that, to plant the seeds in your life. My mom passed away a few years ago, but every time she would visit New York, I decided she should wear one scent, and it's in this box right here. The scent is called Lipstick Rose, and she wore this every time she was here. And this is another thing that I don't often smell, but every now and then I pull it open and I have a little sniff, and my mom's right there. She's right here with me in New York. Something unexpected. I didn't do this with the intention of ever being here without my mom in this little box, but it is something so powerful. And it's something that I encourage everyone out there to maybe try themselves. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.